I'm the same dude y'all read about, the same tool y'all needin' now. We came through, not leaving now. When these lame dudes, we beat them out. No stopping this. In my way, might pop your lip. Ain't saying this awesomeness, but y'all looking like the opposite. We setting the bar. Y'all know who we are.
We're making history. Leaving a legacy. Nothing is stopping me. Better believe what we say. We're making history.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of The Paradigm Shift. I am one of your hosts, Josh Haney, and I'm going to waste no time. I'm going to bring in my boys. He is the man that the stock goes up when he is on the screen. That is Mr. TDC.
Well, what's
or
going on?
RVD.
RVD, TDC, they're about the same caliber, I think. I mean, I would say TDC might be a little bit higher up.
Both natural talents, right?
Yeah, RVD, he tries.
I don't know. We could discuss who stays higher, though.
Oh, that's definitely RVD.
All right, and then we're bringing in the man, the myth, the legend, the godfather of podcasting on Pitfall, if you will, baby, Mr. William H.D. Morgan.
I'm the godfather of podcasting. I started everything, and everything runs through me. I am the godfather. Get used to it. If you will, baby. What's going on, fellas?
Not much, guys. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing good, man.
Doing good. I took a nap before the show, so I'm feeling good.
I'm excited about this show. We kind of came up with it last minute, but this was a good pick, thanks to Mr. TDC. We'll be discussing ECW One Night Stand 05, the original One Night Stand. We'll get into that in a minute. We're going to go ahead and jump into news. But before we cover that, got a couple of bits of news here in the Paradigm world. June 30th. Mark that on your calendars right now. June 30th. Season finale of Paradigm Shift. It'll be us kind of just talking about the whole year and so of this show and just recapping. And then we'll be taking a month-long hiatus. We'll be back August 1st under a new name, new brand, new show. Make sure you join us August 1st for the debut of Pinfall Podcast. It's going to be awesome, guys. We're going to be interviewing... Oh, God, I had the name and then I lost the name. Damn it.
Had a name and he lost the name.
We're going to be interviewing Eden Von England. She is a British wrestler. Indie scene, really doing some good shit over there. Plus, I'm a fan because they are non-gendered, and that is awesome to me. Y'all know how I feel about that. So it's going to be a really cool interview. I got a little bit of surprise for y'all and everybody. That interview, Mr. TDC will be out until the end of August. But that interview, Mr. Brandon Randall will be joining us.
Well, it's about bloody. Logan Wade got off his ass and did the interview.
The one and only Logan Wade will be joining us for that interview, and maybe we even get an interview with Mr. Logan Wade himself.
Yeah, there you go.
That's basically an indie wrestler interviewing an indie wrestler.
Yeah, you got an indie wrestler interviewing an indie wrestler, and then us two guys interviewing both of them.
Yep.
Shit. And there'll be much more news coming out about our relaunch, more information. We're also going to be doing a live watch party on Twitch exclusive for SummerSlam on August 22nd. So you're going to want to make sure and keep an eye out for that. Got a lot of big things coming in the Paradigm Shift. Well, I'm sorry, the Pinfall podcasting world. That's going to be so hard to get used to. But we're going to move right along into the news in the wrestling world. Is it sad? That's one of the things I'm going to miss the most. That intro.
Yeah.
All right. So there's been quite a few things this week going on in the wrestling world. First, the first thing I want to recover, the revolving door of retirement continues. ACH announced for the third time that he will be retiring from pro wrestling. How long does this one last? Does he come back before Leo Rush, or does he come back before Kylie Ray retires again?
No. Him and Leo Rush come back together as a tag team.
Mm-hmm. I'm about to say the same thing.
Like Kylie Ray will retire again, and then they'll come back.
It's a little too dubious, man. It's a little too dubious.
Yeah, this one to me, like, I saw what you said in the chat about this. Well, I liked ACH, but I don't know what happened. Something happened at WWE, like, that killed a really good talent. Like, I don't know if he got his head fucked with or what, but, like, I think everybody here would agree when he went in, he was one of the top indie guys. Like, he was really popular on the indies. He was doing very well. He had a great name for himself at MLW and ACW.
What's up, Eli? I just think, man, it's sad because I watched a lot of Anarchy Championship Wrestling back in the day, and he was one of his main stars down there. And it's a damn shame, man. Him and Scott Summers put some good matches together. Him and Rachel Sumlin, who's a legend down in Texas, did a lot of good work together. It's just a shame, man, to see him go, man. Just a shame. But like I said, he'll be back. He'll be back within 4 months. He got a thing called bills, and that's the only thing that he can seem to do good to me is wrestle.
That's Leo Rush. Like, Leo thinks
He's gonna be on the signing circuit with Hacksaw.
Hell yeah!
Oh no! He don't even get that level. He's on the Virgil level of the signing circuit.
Man.
That New Jack level, as we call it now. Too soon?
But he'll be back. He'll be back, man. I don't buy this retirement for too long. He'll be back.
And that's how I feel about Leo Rush. Like, I'm sorry, I've listened to his music. The man does not have a future in rap. He's crazy if he thinks he does. He is a good wrestler, and he's a good worker. He has a good gimmick. That's what he's good at, and like, he'll be back. As sure as I am that Kylie Ray will retire again.
Oh, that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. She got some issues. That's gonna happen.
Wait, what?
What?
Yeah.
Really? They just did.
That's
Why?
some bull jump, man. That's some bull jump, man. Why would you do that? Why would you sabotage you? That don't make no sense.
That's gonna kill your pay-per-view. Like, that's the main event. Why?
Exactly. Why are you doing it? Why?
You think it's a swerve? You think it's to do a swerve at Hell in a Cell?
I don't know. It could be. It could lead to something else.
Well, they're about to go back on the road. This would be the time to start swerving shit.
I'm not excited about seeing Ray versus Roman any damn way, whether it's pay-per-view or it's SmackDown.
I don't understand the fans that are. I don't understand why and the fans that actually thinks Ray's gonna win. Like,
plus you gotta look
on, guys.
Plus you also gotta look at the Rock factor too. That's been going around the past couple of weeks now that the Rock's coming back. So
that's not till Survivor Series. But this brings me actually into a next bit of news I wanted to discuss anyway. Vince came out today, or some news came out today that Vince knows that the product is stale. And supposedly they've been holding back the good storylines and the good swerves and things like that until they get back on the road, which will happen in like 2 weeks. So if that's the case, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that they pull a swerve at Hell in a Cell to start building for that, because this is their last pay-per-view in the Thunderdome. This is it. Pierce, you're wrong for that one, sir.
He is wrong for that.
You're wrong for that one. But jeez, dude.
Oh my goodness.
Like, I'm so over Rey Mysterio. I hate every time they bring him back. I hate every time that the only thing that Rey Mysterio is, I will say that I have become a fan of his son. But his son is a great face. Like, they don't have a whole lot of good faces, and Dominic's a good face. He's a good worker. So.
I agree with you, but me and Will were talking about this off air a week or so ago. That Dominic is good, but right now you can't really get a feel for him because all they've done is put him with his daddy. Like, it is time to split those two up. It is time for Dominic to sink or swim. Can he do it on his own or not?
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, I think he probably can. He's got that old school 2000s kind of Ray face. Like, he just, like, there's not a heel bone in his body. And fans love that natural, oozy face.
Plus, you've seen his face, so the mask wouldn't be a big thing to him like it is to Ray.
Jesus, Piers Austin.
Fried chicken. Pierce is on it tonight, y'all.
Pierce is
on it
going
tonight.
off.
He is on it tonight. Oh my goodness. Oh wow.
I think Piers might be with you on that no Ray thing, Tommy.
Well, he's in a disagreement with me about Dominic. But my issue with that is to me, there's no pure thoroughbred faces anymore.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
They always have to turn them. They always have to turn them heel.
You look.
I don't want him to turn heel. I want him
You
to
look
stay face.
back in the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era. You had guys like Mysterio, who you knew was never going to
That's
be
what I liked about Humberto.
Humberto
was a face, and like he was 100% thoroughbred face.
Yep.
But
Cut his ass.
I would say since the early 2000s or late 2000s, you haven't seen that really in the WWE. They don't exist. I would
That's
say
true.
AEW has a couple of guys, but like the pure faces don't exist. Like Sting is one of the ones that comes to mind the greatest. Like, man should have never, ever, ever been a heel. Never. Jeff Hardy is another one. I feel like he always is better as a face unless he goes to Willow. Willow can be a heel. But Jeff as himself, it just
I'm
don't
over
work.
Jeff too. It's time for Jeff to retire.
I never got the match I wanted. I never got to see Willow versus The Fiend. I never got my match. I never got my match that night.
Personally, to me, if you want to keep Jeff, that's how you reignite Jeff's career. Let him portray Willow in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Let that happen. Like, that's the only way. Because I agree with you, Tommy. From somebody that was a huge fan of Jeff Hardy, and I'm not sure it's all him. WWE is doing everything they can to kill that man, destroy him.
It's kind of like it's still like it is like we're watching Sheldon. You know exactly what his match is going to be and what exactly he's going to do. You know exactly what movie he's going to do. It's like watching Ray. You know exactly what it. Every time Ray touches a microphone, I already know what he's going to say. Rey Mysterio has been in the same fucking storyline since Eddie Guerrero died.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true.
Yep.
His entire tenure at WWE.
And I mean, the same thing about you could basically say the same thing about Jeff. Jeff has been in the same storyline since he started having issues. Now they just keep him in the alcoholic drug abuse storyline.
Yeah, they do the same. Well, Roman's been in the same storyline almost all his life too in WWE, but the only difference is that him being the heel and the way they're going about doing it now is better. But it's basically the same damn shit over and over and over. It's just been beat to death. It's all about his family, his bloodline. When Ray goes to touch a microphone, I already know where we're going. We're going to hear something about Eddie. He's going to say something about it from Familia. And then
Mi familia.
He's the poor underdog. Right? Like, he's been playing the same role. He ain't changed nothing. The only thing he changes is his contact lenses and his mask. That's the only, well, he went from a patch back to a. He went from contact lenses to a patch. Dropped the patch. Now he's back to contact lenses. He got his eyeball back.
But yeah, I know. The question I had over the Vince story was, do you think WWE can turn it around, or are they in a too deep a hole? Like, I agree, SmackDown's pretty good, but we've discussed before, really the only thing SmackDown has is Roman. And
I don't think they're really hurting the way people make it out. I think Raw.
I'm not talking about money or anything. I'm talking with the drop in fans they've seen, the drop in sales they've seen. And Raw is probably hurting worse than we've seen Raw in years ever hurt. So
I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things that's hard to buy into because Vince loves to tell you. They love to tell you, "Oh, hey, it's different this time. We see our way. We see the way.
Well,
we're gonna start listening to the fans and do it."
And then it gets better for a month, and then
Yeah, then it goes right back to the way it is. It's storylines that don't make no sense. You start killing off tag teams. You start splitting people up before you should.
And,
Actually,
that's because he has a lack of confidence in that roster as a whole. Once you get past the first 5-6 people on the men,
probably less than that now.
Yeah.
I think a lot of what's wrong with WWE is the way that it's being ran, and what I mean by that is that I don't think Vince is having as much with day-to-day operations as he used to.
From listening,
not only that. Not even Triple H is getting everything ran by him because he didn't even know they fucking fired Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
That's why he went and snagged Samoa Joe back up. Like, they didn't even tell him, because if they would have ran it by him, he would have never let him fire him.
Right.
Well, and a lot of that too, if you listen to a lot of these, the release guys are doing a lot of podcasts. It sounds like to me, a lot of decisions are made below Vince now, and he doesn't even hear about them. Like, I heard Tommy N say that he would hear one thing from Vince, and then one of his underlings would go right around and do something else, and nothing. They don't get in trouble for that or anything. Like, and I think we've talked about it before. There's rumors that Khan is kind of trying to shake the board and push Vince out. I don't know if that's true. We talked about it. I can't see a WWE without a McMahon in charge. But
or someone that's connected to McMahon, like Triple H and Stephanie, or something.
Going along with their trying to get the interestingness back for live shows. Supposedly they're going to be bringing back more of the themed gimmicky shows. I've heard Cyber. What do they call that one? Cyber whatever. Taboo Tuesday. Yeah, I'm thinking Taboo Tuesday is the one I always enjoyed. But they're talking Cyber Sunday, Taboo Tuesday I've heard. And then this is the one that I would love for them to bring back. Like, please, please.
Yeah.
I loved this tournament. Like, to me, this was just as good as SummerSlam and WrestleMania. Because
they still have King of the Ring. What are you talking
rare, not like they used to.
Yeah, not like it used to be.
It's not its own pay-per-view, and they just throw it into Raw or SmackDown.
Man, we've had King Corbin for 2 years, bro.
Good God, I know. Don't remind me.
Don't even get me started on that, man. Don't even get me started on that.
But now there's King Shinsuke Nakamura, because now he's in stole his crown.
That man used to be the
lone wolf.
He used to be the man over at NXT, and for them to do that to his career is just criminal. It's just criminal. What's up, Punisher?
He is making money. He is making serious money.
I believe that, but
and then
he's
Tommy
also known for being the most stellar guy in wrestling. Also, I'm just saying.
I don't think he's very good. I'm not a big fan.
When you actually watch him in the ring, he's not that good. But he's a great fucking heel because he makes people hate him, and that's what he does his job on that part.
But this last little bit of news, Tommy said, just bring up the picture. Samoa Joe is back in NXT. Everybody thought he was going to be the new GM. I didn't see him being great in that role. I personally, I don't know if I want Regal to ever leave that role.
I think he'll be more Regal's enforcer.
Well, that's what their agreement was. Is Joe still can't? He's still not cleared, so he can't be an active. He can't be an active roster member, and he can't lay his hands on anybody unless they do first. That's why Adam Cole got chucked out on NXT, because he shoved Joe, and he choked his ass out.
Yeah,
and told him when he wakes up, tell him Mr. Regal wants to see him.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus!
Mm-hmm.
And oh man, and the greatest thing about
the
this
tension between him and Cross.
That was the greatest thing, is because they let you know that soon enough Joe will be cleared, and that match is gonna happen. And oh my God, please give me like 06 TNA Joe, like God, please give me like 06 just whoop ass Joe. That would be amazing versus Cross.
The line that Cross said that was just so awesome when he was like, I punched a hole in the Mount Rushmore of NXT, and now y'all don't know what to do with me. So, like, but when Joe told him to TikTok young champion, I was like, oh, shit.
It's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to happen. So, before we move out of news, how long do y'all think before it happens? The SummerSlam, do you think? I don't know what's up with Joe. I don't know what his injury is, why he's like, I feel like he's been out for a year at this point. So I would think he'd be about to get cleared. So you think like they're talking about
No,
Wasn't it more of a concussion protocol thing?
yeah, I don't know if he'll ever get cleared. I think that was the whole point of the bringing
Really?
him to NXT. Yep.
You think he's done? Like,
I think he's done. I think he's about to start working because from what I'm hearing, the contract he signed is a behind the scenes contract. It's not
coach?
Yeah, it's not a competition contract. He won't be competing for that. So
That's sad. That's sad. Because Joe deserved to be a big name champion in WWE. Like he did.
Apparently, he even knows it, or he wouldn't have took the contract.
I mean,
because he could have went
Right.
somewhere else and got cleared and stepped in the ring.
AEW would have figured out how to clear him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they would have figured that out.
They got Sting in the ring again. They'd have gotten Joe back in that ring.
Maybe Joe's just smart and said, "Hell, I've done had my days.
Yeah.
It's time
I mean-
to get paid and take a step back."
So I think that's you had a little bit of news, right? You wanted to talk about ACW.
Yeah, I just want to bring up Anarchy Championship Wrestling real quick. And a situation down there. That was a striving organization up until 2020. And I knew of some stuff that was going on down there.
That's my area, right?
But I knew of some stuff going down there. But apparently Mr. Childs down there is showing new pictures of the talent and his ex-wife Rachel Summerlin, and the whole thing is now up in the air. They haven't really done any shows since 2020. I know COVID's probably a part of that, but but
not so much anymore. Like
it shouldn't be.
Mission Pro has done 5 shows at this point.
Mhm.
5 shows, and they're doing one every 2 months. And now they've started traveling. They're doing a show in Conroe, my hometown, in July. And then they'll be in Jacksonville for tacos and tequila.
I just think it's a shame because when you look at ACW, they've had so many great people come in and out of that organization, mostly primarily female talent. When you look at the Athenas, when you look at your Rachel Summerlins, you look at talent like Mia Yim got her start down there. And some of the dudes, ACH more notable, but it's just a damn shame that something as trivial as that is holding up a whole company from doing shows and doing that thing. I mean, good grief. Their Joshi Championship tournament that they used to run would have people coming from everywhere to come down and see it. That match we got between Athena and Jessica Havoc was just awesome. Athena pulled that one out, and that led over to a feud over the WSU, which Jessica Havoc ended up winning. So I just think it's a doggone shame that something like that is keeping up a whole organization from doing this thing.
I agree with you, but from living in this area, there's been a lot of companies that have taken this last year and really have figured out how to run a good indie. There's a lot popping up out here. Mission Pro has been running some amazing shows. I could understand. And then you still got to compete with the big name companies who use Austin as a hub, like GCW and CCW. They both are here. I guarantee they haven't announced an Austin show yet, but I guarantee you GCW will be here before the end of summer. And I would be surprised if CCW is not down here at the same, because they were here like once a month before the pandemic. It's a big spot for them. In Texas now, Austin is one of your bigger wrestling cities. It used to be Dallas, not so much anymore. Austin is it. And so I can see where ACW is just like, there's just too much drama. There's just too much bullshit. And if I were a big name, like one of these guys who have went, or I'm an up and coming name, I'm like, well, this isn't the same when ACH and Athena and all them were there. It's not the same company.
Right.
But on that note, guys, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back with the fantasy question and move our main topic of the night. We'll be right back, guys. All right, guys, that is the Geek Gauntlet podcast. You catch that Saturdays with Will and Shaw at 9 Central, 10 Eastern, where they talk all things geek, movies, comics, versus battles, everything you want to know. Then that is our new show, First Generation Dads. That is with Seven and Will. They are debuting that this Sunday, Father's Day. Very special Father's Day episode. And then that will be every Thursday, 9 Central, 10 Eastern. So make sure you check that out. It's going to be a really, really good show. And then Another Real Podcast. Tuesdays, me and Kay break down movies and TV shows. This week, we're talking about raunchy comedy, so you're going to want to check that out as well. It's going to be a hilarious show. I think Seven might pop in for it. It's going to be funny. So make sure you check that out. And, guys, it is time. Anybody gonna miss that one? I've got to be honest. I'm kind of tired of it.
It's definitely been played to death. I can tell you that.
Play to death. We have run for a group that doesn't keep videos and shit long. We have run that one into the ground.
Oh yeah.
All right. So this week's we're talking about ECW One Night Stand, and it's got me thinking like. In the 90s, hardcore was so popular. And to a certain group of wrestling fans now, death matches are the end-all, be-all of wrestling. And I got to say, like, I love a good death match. I love it when a mainstream company like WWE tries to sell hardcore, that it's not hardcore. Like,
no, it definitely ain't now.
No.
I would say the closest that you've gotten to seeing a true death match on national TV would be from AEW. But even then, they pull them back from what you see CCW. Like, you want to go see a good death match, go see Nick Gage versus John Moxley before WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they literally tried to kill each other. And so...
Outlaw mud show bullshit.
You don't like a good death match, Tommy?
I like him, man. But I don't like fucking Nick Gage. I can tell you that.
What's your like? Are same issues as Jim Cornette or different issues?
My only issue that I have with Nick Gage is the same issue that I used to have with fucking you, Jack. Is he purposely tries to hurt his fucking opponent? Purposely.
That's a good point.
I mean,
That's not what the wrestling business is about.
Yeah,
Wrestling business is about while putting on a great entertainment show. You're not, and why it can get brutal, and why you're going to get fucking hurt. There's no sense in you purposely trying to injure.
I mean,
another performer. I just don't get it. It's stupid.
I mean, I would put John Moxley on the same level as Nick Gage, and I just recently listened to him. He did one of Renee's things that was a bit of news. Renee and John had their baby born this week. So one of her maternity shows is they did Ask Mox. And he talked a little bit about how his goal always, no matter what the crazy stunt he's doing or what match it is or his goal is always to come home and be 100% whole. And I agree with you. It's not mixed martial arts. It's not boxing. It's pro wrestling. The whole point is to be able to put on a good show and think you're killing somebody, but not actually hurt them.
The things about guys like Nick Gage also is like there's a time when you got to stop being that fucking character, and when you like sit here and mock that, oh, David Arquette's a fucking pussy, and yeah, I about slit his throat with a piece of glass, and that was my whole intent was to hurt his ass. And then I made him, and before when we talked about this, him and his bitch ass wives flipped the bill for lunch. Like having this attitude like that, like it's just so fucking disrespectful, man, on so many levels for someone like Nick Gage, who's even fucking lucky he's back in the wrestling business after with the shit that he's pulled. That's my issue with people like Nick Gage. Like, be a little bit more fucking grateful, man. Like, you want to start treating David Arquette that way? Like, really? Fuck, man.
And I'm sorry. I feel like David Arquette is similar to, like, Stephen Amell. There's not many celebrities that come into this and pay their dues. Those are two guys that I feel have. Like, they did the training. They learned how to do it and pay respect. They didn't just come in and learn one move to take a bump and then botch that move. They busted their ass. They learned how to do it. And you got to really respect David Arquette. He went back to the Indies to try and like fix his name.
He went and spent time in fucking shitty Mexico in the middle of fucking nowhere.
To fix what he dudes. Because he felt like he will tell you that he felt like his WCW run was a stain on wrestling. He'll say it. Yeah. But he has done everything the man can do to change that and to make and to show that he loves this sport and he loves it and he wants to protect it. And I don't know a lot about Nick Gage, like literally almost anything, but from what you say, yeah, he's not the type of guy that I would respect. So my actual question for tonight is, is there a company out there that could pull off bringing the death match style like ECW did constantly on national TV? If so, why? If not, why?
Not with cancel culture going on, brother.
It's the talent to do it to perfection is gone. There's not many Sandmen out there that
you've got a good,
you know,
you've got a good selection. Like they're not all over here. The names that come over from here would be again Nick Gage, just because he's synonymous with that type of match. John Moxley, Mance Warner, Jimmy Havoc, but I don't think he'll ever work in the wrestling industry again after all the shit he's went through. Joey Janela can put on a pretty good death match for the most part, but after that, he's now in NXT going under. I think it's Ari something or other. But Alex Zane can do a good death match.
But those names you just doled out are those names people are willing to go see? Are those names strong enough for people to pay money for? Is the question.
That's first three, yes. The other ones,
I don't think
not
so.
At the moment, no.
Yeah,
I just don't think you got enough to carry the companies.
Yeah, because
in order to do it,
right
now, what makes those matches so great is that you don't get them all the time. That's why WWE quit doing it all the time, because it gets to the point like you got to burn the fucking building down in order to do something that ain't already be done.
That's shocking enough. Yeah,
I remember when ECW come over into the Invasion and they started doing like all these hardcore type matches in WWE, and you were literally seeing them every week. It got to the point that you didn't give a damn if someone got smacked with a chair or anything. There was no effect to it anymore, which is kind of ECW's problem. That's kind of what happened with ECW a little bit, because like when you see it every fucking show, it's what are you going to do now?
Right.
You know?
It's like with my whole thing. Like I said, there's no Sandman out there. There's no Rob Van Dam out there. There's really no one out there like back in the day that could do it to perfection like those guys did. But, and you know, I just don't think WWE or anyone else could do it.
Playing devil's advocate for a second, but all those guys didn't come in killing it in the hardcore deathmatch scene. They all learned, and there are guys out there. I mean, CZW is basically a deathmatch company. They do them all the time. They're an extreme company, and you had guys like Seth Rollins. He was huge in CZW.
The only thing I'm curious about CCW is I really want to see the whole Zack Ryder shit versus Nick Gage.
That's GCW. Yeah, that's happening in July. I do want to see that. I really think Moxley's going to end up involved. I think they're working some kind of angle here, because that was who everybody thought it was when
he mocked
Ryder.
He mocked him pretty good. I mean,
so. Oh, you got to remember, Nick Gage showed up at one of Moxley's events and cold cocked him. So, like, he owes him retribution too. So, We'll see. But also, again, Moxley has a new baby at home, so he's probably on paternity leave for a while, and you're not going to see him for a while.
Things are good, and like I say, not like, and Tommy brought it up earlier. things have changed now with the way they're doing things and trying to protect their athletes. Things have changed, and that's another thing that you got to put into that factor too.
Well, and then you look at it, and AEW put on a pretty good bloody match with the Thunder Rosa Britt Baker match. Like what we all agreed, one of the best matches this year. It was an amazing match. But what did WWE say? They took the wrestling business back 30 years.
Oh shit! Yeah, Mark's done had his kid. He's gonna come back as Dean Ambrose now.
Get out the New Balance.
Plus another thing too, how many are you supposed to do? I mean, if you do one, that's special enough. But if you do one every TV taping, or if you do one every Raw or one every SmackDown, you take away what makes that match great. So
the only thing WWE needs to do with theirs is like when you actually have a TLC fucking
make it an actual TLC.
Make an actual TLC.
TLC pay-per-view like you used to do. That's
right.
That's their issue.
I mean, we can talk shit and y'all shit on me for AEW, but that's the one thing I feel like they've done right. When they use the hardcore match, which isn't all the time, they've done them well. They've paid tribute. They've been good matches. They still tell the story. And I'm sorry, I haven't seen a good hardcore match in WWE probably since the early 2000s.
Man, you ain't seen a hardcore match since Mankind, and that's how long ago?
So
I know what you're talking about because Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano put on a great hardcore match.
I don't
That's true,
consider NXT.
That's true.
NXT to me, especially after this whole Joe thing, NXT to me is basically its own company that just sits under the WWE umbrella. But they are their own fucking promotion. And I swear that if Triple H could, he would cut ties. I swear to God he would. Because one thing you didn't talk about was AEW's in the process of probably making another shitty-ass belt. Their trio, or the replica? Yeah, no, their replica. Finally, is that what you're talking about? I didn't.
Talking about a lightweight belt, possibly.
Man, they're already talking about a trios title. They don't need any more belts. Give me my trios title and leave it alone. They don't need another belt. But
yeah, you ain't talk about. Hey, you didn't talk about how bad that NXT show was last week. That show was terrible.
Well,
that show was garbage.
Actually, we're done with the question, so we can talk about both these things. First, AEW did announce their replica finally pre-sales next week. Tommy, you're a belt guy. It's a pretty belt. It's pretty. They haven't announced the price on it yet.
How much is it?
They haven't officially announced.
Over fucking $700.
Yeah, I've heard between. I've heard between 6 and 8 is what I've heard.
Damn.
And they're going to get it too because of how big it is.
That's a pretty. It is a pretty belt.
No, you're on. I know you're on Brother of the Belts, right? Like every person in there is like, I'm buying it, I'm buying it, I'm buying it, I'm buying it. And some of these guys already have a belt made.
They don't care. They buy every fucking belt. They bought that. They buy every damn belt that's reproduced. Like even the Steve Austin belt. As soon as that shit hit the fucking market, they're like, I'm buying it. I'm like, it looks like Terminator.
The Mick Foley belt. The Mick Foley belt that the bag was better than the actual belt.
That one, when you look at it, and some of those belts, I feel like you don't get the awe moment unless you're actually holding it.
Okay.
Because the U.S. belt, the newer U.S. belt, why it does not look all that great, fabulous on screen, but when you actually hold that motherfucker, that bitch feels like a world championship belt. It don't feel like a mid-card belt. That bitch is huge as shit. So like, I get to hold an AEW replica that was made by a maker because James Sweet had Patrick Restone it. So like, I got to hold that one. That one wasn't that bad. I'd rather have one of those.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a nice one from a maker for $300.
No. You can get a nice one from a maker for about $500.
See,
$200 to $300, you getting a small ass belt probably.
I also don't know because I don't buy belts. Like that is a hobby my wife won't let me touch.
See,
it's it's too high for me. It's too
Yeah.
high.
See, there's another
Look,
belt I want.
These are enough.
There's another belt I want that I noticed up there too. That TNA Legends Championship.
Dude, you mention that one every time.
That's money. That thing pretty, but I know it's a lot of money too.
Not necessarily our discussion for the evening, but prettiest belt that you personally think of all time. Prettiest belt. To me, it's the old IWGP before they just retired it. Like, I love that belt. I think it's gorgeous.
The Intercontinental, the yellow Intercontinental Championship.
I like the white stripe one.
Yeah.
I like the.
I love that white stripe. To me, the IC title with the white stripe is one of the prettiest.
I like the yellow one. The
But like
yellow
that's another thing about the brother of the belts, man. Those guys talk like the Hogan 86 with the wigs, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
The thing that kills me is a motherfucker that can just look at a picture and be like, "Nah, bro, that's a replica that was made and fucking by such and such." It can
at this time
fucking maker who made the fucking belt.
That's amazing.
Just by looking at the design, I'm like, how the fuck?
Eddie Williams and Josh Hammer. Those two, man, I swear they bleed fucking belts.
I agree that.
There's a lot of that's another thing that blows me away. The amount of wrestling fans who aren't actually wrestling fans, they're belt fans. They just love the belts. That's it.
You be like, hey man, did you watch wrestling last night? Dude, I ain't watched
No.
wrestling since 2002.
I love your boy.
The undershow.
I love you. I love your boy, Tommy. But Patrick. That's Patrick. Like Patrick don't watch any new wrestling, but he loves him some belts.
We got to vote here for the undisputed title.
Undisputed title.
It wasn't around long enough to really. I don't even barely remember it because they made it, and then I think 6 months later they did the brand split.
Yeah.
There's so many I like because I like the TNA Wildcat.
That was cool. that was cool.
I like
That Lucha Under.
The Lucha
Underground.
I like the Aztec Gods title.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was cool to me.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Edward has that belt. Edward Lindsay.
Yeah, I've seen him post pictures of it.
That belt is awesome.
Got all those fucking little plates that go in it and shit, man. It's insane. He got
You know what? This is a good conversation. So I say we just keep talking about this. I got to take another commercial break, but we could talk about ECW next week. This is a good conversation, but we'll be right back and continue more belt talk. Okay, that was funny that we're sitting here talking about Edward Lindsay's Gift of the Gods title and he pops into the room. That's a little weird.
He's always stalking greatness. That's what it is.
Huh?
He's always stalking greatness.
He's always
Yes.
stalking greatness.
Yeah, it is.
But no, I love that title. And wait, real quick, let me say this. Catch Punisher and Kay every Wednesday, 7 Central, 8 Eastern on the Geek Gauntlet. And I also meant to play the Sports Report advertisement, but I got caught up in the comments. So catch the Sports Report. Catch the Sports Report on Mondays with Will, Tony C, and Seven, talking all things sports. It was actually I've been on the show a couple of times the last couple of weeks, and we've had some really interesting conversations. So make sure you check that out. But okay, so we talked about our prettiest titles, our most favorite. Ugliest title, the worst one you've ever seen. To me, it was the original AEW Women's Championship. Like, I hated that thing.
The Divas title.
Oh, God, yes.
That
God,
thing was
yes.
ugly.
And the new IWGP titles are atrocious.
Garbage.
After having such a gorgeous,
Mhm.
like, it would be hard for me to decide if I wanted the AEW or the IWGP. If I were to get one belt, it'd be, I don't know if I could pick.
I guess honestly, it would be the 24/7 title.
That thing ugly too. That thing ugly too.
That
That's
thing
ugly
is,
too.
like,
It's
personally,
so plain, man.
It's
well-
a joke, and it's a joke title.
well, and we've talked about it too.
The
That title,
the internet title actually looks kind of cool, man. I'm sorry.
I like the internet title, but
The internet title cool.
but
I think the original US title is pretty too.
they're all the WWE logo titles are ugly. I'm sorry, they're all ugly. They're all ugly. And,
Come
but
on,
that-
man. Come on, man. You know you love those copper-plated tag team championships.
Oh,
You know you love them pitted championships. Come on, man.
Hey, you know, I'll be honest, man. When you actually hold one of those wide strap tag belts they got now, they had the SmackDown one. It's just nice. It's way nice.
I just-
think it is. Like the TV does it no fucking justice, man.
maybe that's it. Because to me,
Yeah.
like the women's title, the Universal, the WWE Championship, they all just look the same. One, it's hard. The only way to distinguish them is the
Main
strap.
title, the only thing I like about the main title is the I like the one Roman's got right now. That's about it. Other than that, I don't.
They're garbage.
They all look the same. But
Yeah,
they-
exactly.
They did the same thing with NXT. NXT's man and woman's title look fucking identical. There's just one's a little bit bigger than the other.
So do their tag titles.
Yeah.
Um,
I love the original US title, but the US title now is trash.
You're crazy. I love that.
I hate
actually-
that US title.
I
hate it.
I love that title. It's grown on me, and I saw it with. It has a black strap.
Mhm.
I saw it with a white strap, and it looks really, really.
I hate
really
that title.
good.
To me, it looks like a big Motel 6 sign. That's all it looks like to me.
It looks really great when you get it and you paint it. And you put stones on those damn stars. And
I've seen Patrick's. It looks really good.
it does. And, I mean, his IC looks great too. And I was not a fan of that new IC title until I seen his. It's stone and it's on white leather, and it's like, God, it's fucking amazing, man. It looks great. And
All right.
Speaking of some honorable mentions, I guess you could say, WCW United States title.
Was a pretty.
Oh, that
title.
thing pretty. That thing pretty. Yeah.
Fucking
The one that Luger held. Yep, that's thing pretty. Luger and Dusty. Yep.
Okay, real quick, talking about non-sanctioned titles. Like the $1 million belt, of course.
The FTW belt, I'm going to tell you now, ain't even on the list.
Fuck no, I hate that belt. I hate that belt. Like I don't know if like
I love the $1 million belt. The only thing I don't like about it is the money symbol. The money sign symbols are plastic.
yeah.
You know, like the only thing that's like really metal on it is the main plate. It's got the main plate with the dollar signs on it. The rest of it's plastic. And when one of those fuckers break, I know if I've already seen it, the fucking belt guys, so they're fucking bitch to replace.
Oh yeah, I bet. So the FTW title is garbage. We talked. Zack Ryder's Internet Championship was actually pretty cool. I liked it. And truly, only way that man ever got over in the WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. It's gonna be interesting. I'm glad that LA Knights got that $1 million championship.
Yeah.
That's
and-
the dumbest name ever, though.
oh, it's a terrible name. Terrible name. But I love Eli
Drake.
But they did the right thing though, because when the $1 Million Man handed him the championship over, he jumped Ted DiBiase.
Yeah. It
Yep,
was,
yep.
I watched
yep.
the clip.
You sort of kind of saw that coming too.
Well, there was the only
The
way.
whole interview, I was like, hit him.
Yeah.
Hit him.
Yeah.
If
You saw
want
that
to hit him over,
coming.
right here's where you need to fucking hit him. And then when he said, That's the thing about getting to the top is then you drop what you don't need no more.
And I don't need you.
Yeah, man.
I was like, yes, that was beautiful.
Yeah,
I'll tell you another belt I like. Those old school NWA 6-man titles. I love those belts too.
To me, that's the title we haven't talked about. The 10 pounds of gold. That title it's so classic, so simple, but really pretty, really pretty. And then I say the same thing. I love the NWA Women's Championship. I love how it has a picture of
the actual champion in there. Yeah,
I think that's the only title I've ever seen like that.
The only thing that makes me mad about that, at some point you gotta take it off Nick. At some point you gotta take it off.
I think that needs to come sooner rather than later. I'm just getting tired. I'm getting bored of it. Like, I love Nick Aldis. I think he is one of the most talented.
Being safe with him is what it is.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think he is one of the most talented guys in wrestling to have never touched WWE. Like, he is really good on the mic, really good in the ring. But I agree with you. It's time for him to move on from that championship. Like, he's done basically everything he could do. He's beaten everybody a couple of times. I kind of thought he might drop it to Trevor Murdoch.
I thought so too.
But I think they're going to. Well, this was my only thought on that, Tommy. The only reason I thought that is because Trevor is super over with the NWA fans. He's super over. And so I thought that could be a good way to kind of rejuvenate. It was their first pay-per-view back with fans. Like, move it forward. But I agree with you. Billy's playing it safe because all this with it keeps him some level of fans constantly.
And it's like, if anyone, he got over that Magnus gimmick. I hated him as Magnus. I hated it. And he got over that into doing what he's doing now. That's amazing.
I would say he made the Magnus gimmick better. Like, he took the Brutus part off, and his last few years in TNA, he was amazing. That you really started to see the beginning of Nick Aldis in his last couple of years with TNA, and then he continued it.
Oh yeah, pretty much as himself.
I will give Nick his credit. NWA probably would not be around if it weren't for Nick Aldis and Tim Storm, because those two guys carried that company for years.
And you gotta give
till Billy could get a little traction.
And you gotta give Tim Storm some credit because Tim Storm's an older dude. He's not a spring chicken by any means. He's an older dude, but he still goes out there. He still wrestles and he does his thing.
I love Tim Storm.
Yeah,
I love him. I think he again is one of those guys that is super duper talented. That's never touched WWE. I would love to see him because like you said, he's older. He's in his 50s.
Yeah.
I would like to see him make a national TV, like be on a national TV for maybe just one match before he retires. I think the man deserves it.
Man, goodness do.
But yeah, I agree with both of y'all. I think it's time for Aldis to drop it. But who in the NWA does he drop it to? There's no one that I really feel is big enough to carry it like Aldis does.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Talent that's floating around. I mean, you never know who might show.
And now,
we never talk about NWA picking up a lot of this talent that's dropped off. We never have, and so far from the April let goes, they picked up the most.
Particularly on the women's side of things.
Mickey James is a
huge acquisition. Huge.
You going to that show, Tommy?
I'm hoping.
And they are, and the thing with that is, I don't know how WWE didn't look at her for that same role because their women are starting to struggle. And it's like now you got the NWA. She's gonna do her thing down there. That show's coming up soon. They're all women show. So yeah,
that was another thing I wanted to bring up that we didn't talk about. Triple H had a scrimmage, or I forget what. Like he had a press junket about NXT, and he made some comments. He said that the best female wrestlers in wrestling are in WWE.
No, they're not.
And if they're not, they want to be.
No, they're not. No, they're not. No.
Personally, Britt Baker is to me one of the top women wrestlers right now, and she has voiced multiple times she has no interest ever going back there. But I know what Tommy's gonna say: money talks, bullshit walks.
Well,
But-
I mean, honestly, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. If you look at the women's division in any other place, no other place has as many big names as WWE does that is known. The average fan don't know who the fuck Britt Baker is, unless they watch AEW. But they know who the fuck Alexa Bliss is. They know who Charlotte Flair is.
That's
They
because
know who Becky Lynch is.
most people's interaction is only WWE.
Well, that's what he's saying, though. They have the biggest women's division.
But they don't have the
Regardless-
best. He said
regardless-
best. I don't think it's the best.
Everyone else can sit around and beat their chest about it, but at the end of the day, WWE is the one that took a women's division and used the women to elevate their product, and no one else has fucking done that. No one has. They give women small limelight in TNA and Impact. They might go put together this big ass fucking tournament and call it the Evolution Women's Tournament. But really, when at the end of the day, how many people watch that fucking tournament?
That's true.
When WWE does it, it's watched on a major fucking stage.
Mae Young Classic.
They have the biggest women's division there is. You have Asuka, you have Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, and that's just to name a few. No other company has that many big name women. You have what you got, smart Mark fan type women like Britt Baker or Thunder Rosa or something like that.
Love
That's-
Thunder Rosa.
That's more of an underline. That's like not being signed to a major label type artist. But when you look at WWE, they just got powerhouse name after powerhouse name after powerhouse name after powerhouse name. There's no other company that's doing that. Not with women. And that's just so ironic considering how much WWE shit on women for years.
He also made a comment that doing women exclusive pay-per-views is not equality, even though WWE did that first. So
That's bullshit too.
They didn't do the first pay-per-view. They took credit for it.
they did the first all women's pay-per-view, the Evolution.
No, from my understanding, TNA did one.
Yeah, TNA did the first one because
Really?
Barbie Hayden was in the first one. She
I
was
did
in the
not know
first
that.
one. Yeah, she was in the first one.
Because
I did not know that.
fans got
Mhm.
asked for it when WWE took credit for it and said, "Well, they didn't do it first. TNA did it first." But see, that's what I'm talking about. No one even knew. Some fans didn't even know fucking TNA did that shit.
I
They
consider
did it.
myself a smart market.
They,
I didn't
they
know.
did it. They did it. They did it first. Yep.
Yeah, they did it first. Yeah,
So-
I mean,
My
I get what
only
you're saying. I mean, there's nothing wrong with beating your chest for your own company because God knows other places say they got the best fucking tag team division. They got the best heavyweights. They got the best this. He's just boosting his company some, but he's kind of right though.
yeah, but my thing is just because you have the biggest names doesn't mean they're being used to their maximum potential. And I think that a lot of those women aren't being used to their best potential.
The
You can
ones
have the-
that should be aren't, and the ones
Right.
that shouldn't be are.
Right.
AKA Alexa Bliss.
Right.
250 G's to go sit in catering.
My
Did you
last
say 50 G's?
150 G's.
I don't know what the fuck they complaining about.
My last thing.
Did you say?
Last thing before we get out of here, in this call, Triple H also said that he feels like fans are ruining wrestling from the dirt sheets and everything like
I
that.
agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah.
Fans make it no fun anymore. You can't.
I mean, I don't agree with that.
You can't be surprised about fucking nothing no more.
Right. Because you gotta know it ahead of time.
It's not even that so much with me. Where the fans get it with me is just, why can't we just enjoy it? Why do we have to shit on one company or the other? Like, do I hate things WWE does?
It's
Yes.
It's as simple as I don't like this. There's no-
Don't watch it.
It's that
Like,
simple.
I'm not a fan of Raw and SmackDown. So you know what I do?
You don't watch it.
I don't watch them. But how often do we sit here and just shit on? And yes, do we critique it? That's our jobs. We run a podcast. We do that. But we don't sit here and just shit on it constantly. And
Plus
even
enough-
Tommy can find things he likes in AEW.
Plus
If
enough-
Tommy can do that, the rest of the world can.
Plus, another thing you got to look at too, and I'm glad you brought that up, Josh. Do you realize how many hours a week pro wrestling runs?
Oh, well,
That's a ton
let's just talk
of
about
time.
let's just talk about us right here. Because for this show, I think on average, I watch, depending if it's a pay-per-view week or whatever, 15 to 20 hours of wrestling a week. And I love wrestling, and there are times that I get wrestled out.
That's a lot, man. There's a lot. There's a lot.
But-
There's a lot of wrestling. It's hard to stay in the zone and focus.
Now pick back up NXT because I had to lay off of it for a while. There was nothing going on that was interesting.
This
Yeah.
week was
Yeah.
the first week I really was upset about missing it. This was the first week in a couple of months that I really wanted to watch it and couldn't. But there's so much wrestling, and then you can go find more. Like there's hours and hours and hours of free shit on Fight and Title Match Network and all those. But Tommy is one of the hardest people I've ever met on AEW. But on that same note, he does give them their credit. He understands they are doing some things right. It's not hurting the wrestling business. It's making it better. You can talk. I know, as big of a fanboy as I am, right now, there's no way in hell AEW is ever going to beat WWE. But competition makes things better. Like, that's why we all said for years that WWE was getting stale. It's because they had no competition. They didn't have anything. They're still not adjusting like I thought they would, but they've also been dealing with a pandemic. So
Right.
now,
Right.
this is the first chance WWE is really going to get since AEW's debut to really take a shot. So that's the fans kill it for me. It's more the IWC. Like they've got to
kill it for me because it's just like you can't even post something positive and they're all over it trying to
Yeah.
get it apart.
like I hate
Like-
that I do this, but
like-
I will find myself diving into comments on AEW, and I hate that I do it because all it's going to do is upset me. And it's not even that people are talking negative on the product; it's the fact that they're just shitting on it, just shitting on
Like-
everything.
Like for example, Piper Nevin. Everybody just
They've
trashed
been
her when she
tearing
made-
her apart.
tearing her apart. But if you followed her in the Indies, if you followed her over in NXT UK, she's a badass. She's got a win over Rhea Ripley, and no one talks about it. No one talks about it.
Like they wouldn't. have
Bronson
took-
Reed.
Like if they were like in the UK, they wouldn't have jumped on the fucking opportunity to come over to fucking be on national TV where everyone is seeing you. Even if it fails, you were still on Raw and you still were there and you still got paid and you still got exposure. Like people don't understand that that's all that matters sometimes. So that shit probably failed, but there was 100 other people. It was like if this was done different, she would have succeeded.
I love
If
Piper
they'd
Nevin,
have
man.
used her this way, she would have succeeded. Let's sign her. I mean, it's not like that's what some people don't understand. It's not always about always being at WWE for fucking
Exactly.
Right, right, right.
That's exactly like you got to take in this business. You've got to take every opportunity given. She was given her chance to get her name on TV. Maybe she gets released next week, but she can take that to AEW and be like, I was just on TV. I was next to Eva Marie. I had a match with Naomi. Like all of that shit. That's big in this industry. And
See, that's the problem. Everybody wants to be pushed, or everybody thinks everybody should be pushed immediately. They think that they shouldn't have to go and pay their dues. Let's not forget, people, that the fucking Hardy Boys had to stand around opening doors at WrestleMania just to get on TV. Don't you remember that?
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
Just a little bit exposure. You know, the fucking Alexa Bliss and them were fucking Triple H's slave girls that come out with him. Sasha Banks and them. Now they're fucking wrestling champions. I mean, you have to start some fucking where.
You have to pay dues. That's one of the things that I feel like is lost on the new wrestling fan is they think that if he's over with the fans, he should be pushed. No, that's not how this business works. Like, we don't make as much as we want to think we make all the decisions in wrestling. We don't. Like, not at all. And so it's just we have, and I've said this before on this show multiple times, wrestling community is one of the most toxic communities in the world, I think. Now, don't get me wrong. There are guys in this community that are some of the best people in the world. I know a bunch from right here over in Revolution and WGP. Like, I'm friends with a lot of those guys. There are some great people in the wrestling community, but there are some shitheads in this community more than anyone I've ever seen. Because like you said, Tommy, if I were to go on right now and say AEW is doing this, this, and this right, even in our own group, I would probably still get trolled the fuck out of.
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah, probably by me.
Yeah.
that I expect. But again, like I said, you can find your positives in every show. You're not a big Impact fan, but you can find positives in it. You're not a big AEW fan, but you can find positives in it. You don't just shit on absolutely everything. So that's Josh's rant for this evening. But I think that's gonna go ahead and do it for us tonight, guys. Remember, season finale of the Paradigm Shift, June 30th. When we've been taking a month off, we relaunch on August 1st as the Pinfall Podcast. Make sure you check out the page. Keep posted for more news on that. A lot of things to come, guys. I think this is gonna be a good little switch for this show. So y'all stay tuned. Guys, y'all have a great night, and we will catch y'all next week where we'll actually talk about ECW One Night Stand.